first ever episode of We Chat About on Nintendo Love Affair. This week, we chat about NX. Joining us here today is Sean, the killer from the villa. Sean Kill. Welcome, Sean.
Hey, thanks for having me, Mark. I love being on your show.
How are you feeling, buddy?
I'm a little hoarse. I'm a little under the weather, so you'll have to pardon a little bit of a raspy voice.
It's alright. I guess I can forgive you this time.
Okay, thank you.
Well, Sean Kill, as you may or may not know, the Nintendo Love Affair project has been really changing over the past few weeks.
And expanding.
And expanding. Yeah, this project started off as a solo effort for sure. The first episode was basically just me hosting and going over the news for the week. And by now, I fully consider you and Christina and Adam Brooks, a good friend of mine, to be part of the crew here for the show. Adam, I think you may have met him before, has been working on some music. So the intro music and the outro music for the show is composed by him. So we got to give him some props. He also has been doing some work for the logo.
Nice.
Yeah, so he's our art guru guy that's going to be making us look and sound good. Christina's going to be helping us out in the future here with a wee chat about Yoshi's Woolly World. She's got a really great perspective on the game, but this week we chat about the Nintendo NX.
Woohoo! NX!
NX. Now, Sean Kill, I don't know if you're aware, but there's been a lot of news coverage on the NX here. The past week is really when it's picked up. The past 2 weeks have seen a spike in headlines overall, but this past week has been just non-stop news reports from different news outlets on the internet there.
So they keep pouring them out.
They keep pouring them out. Well, what have you heard about the NX so far?
Well, I've heard that they're going to give even more news prior to the Consumer Electronics Show, or CES, or I may be mistaken, maybe it's before E3, the Electronic Entertainment Expo.
Yeah, I've read the same things. Now the problem with that, they are what you've been reading, what has been making the headlines in the mainstream media, not even just the gaming focused media, but the mainstream media, are these headlines. I mean, they're so brashly written now. As I scan the news today, the headlines just straight up say Nintendo NX will be unveiled at E3, and Nintendo NX will be or Nintendo NX news will appear prior to E3. And the problem with these stories is that it is not true. That is not a fact. What has happened is analysts from different companies have projected that they believe that the NX will be unveiled at E3. There was an earlier headline that stated that the Nintendo NX may be unveiled behind closed doors at CES, at the Consumer Electronics Show. Now, the problem with that is the Consumer Electronics Show is going on right now. It's from Wednesday the 6th through Saturday the 9th. And there has not been one mention of Nintendo even being at the show, let alone there to unveil their product. So that is one of the rumors that is proving to be untrue.
I see.
Yeah, so what I believe we need to stand for here at Nintendo Love Affair is, sticking to the facts and staying away from speculation.
Yeah, I feel like they did something like that with the Wii. I feel like Nintendo has done this before, where they try and give out a little bit of information before a big event. So it's almost like they can tease you into, finding out before the event, a little bit of information, and then it makes you want to pay attention to the event that much more to find out the rest of the details. But like you said, it is hard trying to weed out fact versus speculation, because that's one of the biggest things in the video game world is speculation. Everyone has a dream. I think that's why we all keep playing games, is because we're all kids at heart with a dream, and you always dream that something's going to be like this or like that, and you have things in your head, and that's why it's so easy to speculate, and to not get caught up in that and to actually keep the facts, and versus speculation. It's going to be hard until we get some concrete NX news.
Yeah, which we're not going to get until E3. Now, again, Nintendo.
It's May, right?
June.
Early June? Is it early June?
Early June.
Okay.
And Nintendo has not said that they are going to unveil the system at E3, but it does make sense for them to do so.
Mm-hmm.
Now, at prior Nintendo Directs, Nintendo specifically said they are not going to discuss NX prior to their Direct releases, because they knew that's what people were going to be waiting to hear about. And so they moderated the expectations. They kept expectations in check by giving that bit of news, and they've been very straightforward with the fact that we will not hear anything about NX until later in 2016. But the problem is, right now, Nintendo is becoming a trend-worthy topic to search on the internet. I mean, there are tons of headlines. Lots and lots of news outlets online are picking up these Nintendo stories because it is a hot button issue. But the popular belief is that the NX is going to come out, or is going to be unveiled at E3 in June. Again, that hasn't been confirmed. Rumors had it. Again, it's these analysts, these so-called experts that are creating a timetable based on speculation and creating a lot of hype. And these articles are nothing more than what I call clickbait. They're just overhyped headlines trying to get you to click to go to their article to generate ad revenue. They are articles without substance, and it's harming the company. There was a story the other day, that just yesterday, I believe, that Nintendo's stock yesterday, as in Wednesday, that Nintendo's stock dropped 5%. Let me see this. Nintendo's stock dropped, and that drop is directly correlated with this company called Nomura Securities. Nomura Securities stated that, or projected, is purely guessing, that the Nintendo NX is going to cannibalize sales of 3DS and Wii U. And after this security firm, this investment firm, made this claim, the stock dropped. Like, first of all, no duh, the NX is going to cannibalize sales. It's a new system. Right. People are going to transition from the old systems to the new system. This kind of stuff doesn't need to be said. It doesn't need to impact the company's overall image and profit in their state in the market. I just don't remember there being this much hype from a business standpoint and for any of their systems. And maybe I wasn't old enough to or in the know enough to monitor them,
Right.
but it just seems like a lot of people have a lot to say about what they don't understand. And I don't know. I think Nintendo, Kimishima has said that the NX is a third pillar. Kimishima has said that Nintendo will remain focused on the 3DS and that the NX is a third pillar. Does that sound familiar to you at all? The whole third pillar talk.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
They use the same rhetoric for the 3DS. They said the regular DS. The DS was released as a third pillar to the
Game Boy.
Yeah, the Game Boy Advance and the Wii, or not the Wii, but the GameCube at the time, correct?
Right.
Yeah. So what happened? I mean, they released the DS claiming it's simply a third pillar. It's not meant to replace the Game Boy line, but they release it and it can play Game Boy Advance games. Like what they can say what they want to put people at ease, but ultimately they created a device that was meant to replace and become, ultimately very, very popular as it did. But so what I see, I'd like to get your opinion on this too. What I see is Nintendo in not necessarily a bad place, but definitely a scary one for them, where they need to make something happen, and they've got the Wii U is obviously out the door. 3DS is still going very strong. I've heard a lot of people claim the 3DS is dying, but it's maybe from the States' perspective, but definitely not from Japan's perspective. And people tend to forget that Nintendo is a Japanese company, and it's a nationalistic company to boot. They care about. I think their number one concern is Japan, because of that nationalistic pride that is part of Japanese culture. And I think they've done a really good job in the States. I think Reggie Fils-Aimé has done an excellent job. But we're not the company's first priority, first of all. Maybe we should be. But
well, they were founded in Japan, so.
Yeah. Well, so I think this NX is going to be. This is my projection. This is basically what I think based on precedents and what really makes sense for the company. I think the NX is going to be announced at E3, and they're going to have a physical presence at E3. I think they're going to break the tradition the new tradition of only having Nintendo Directs. I think they're going to unveil the NX, and it is going to be huge. It is going to dominate the conference. And then I think that the NX will be released for the holiday season.
No, and I was going to say too, I think it really will dominate because I feel like between its competitors, I think that they're going to be, probably just talking more games and, things that we have already seen before, so I really don't know what Microsoft with Xbox or Sony and PlayStation, what they would have in their lineup for this year, but just the idea that, I don't foresee any real big changes with them except for the idea of probably promoting a bunch of their games and even more first-person shooters and more online games and things that we've seen before. So I think Nintendo with NX is any game enthusiasts will be more than interested to hear what they have up their sleeve.
Yeah, and if it is what many people think it is going to be, and that's a crossover platform that lets you play the same game, if not similar versions of the same title, at home and on the go, then they've got a pretty powerful system. I mean, they've got a system with a lot of potential to dominate again. You know, they've got a pretty good ace up their sleeve. If they can pull this off, where it's PlayStation 4 level graphics on the go and at home, I mean, they are going to kill it. Because even if there is 2, 3, 4 years left in the PS4 lifespan, if NX can jump in here with PlayStation 4 graphics, allow you to play it on the go or at home, and also use this new system to kind of cross-pollinate with the mobile platform they're building, simply put, they're going to have the most exciting product out there. At least the one with the most playing potential, because there's no way Xbox One or PlayStation 4 is going anywhere for at least 2 more years. So if you've got 2 more years of development at that level of graphics, Nintendo, the NX is going to get games ported. It's going to get new titles as well, if they've made it easy to develop for. The NX is going to come out and just stomp the yard.
Well, and I was going to say, on a side note, what's interesting is the Xbox 360 came out in 2005, and my nephew just got an Xbox 360 for Christmas. So 10 years later, it is, I heard a few other kids that wanted a 360 and maybe got a 360 for Christmas. And so I just find that really interesting, how something can come out 10 years ago and still be, somewhat relevant to an extent. So, it makes me think, goodness, how long will the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 literally be? I'll be honest, though, I don't know too many people that went out and bought a PlayStation 3 for Christmas. But,
yeah. Well, I think that's the issue with the sales. I mean, looking at the numbers, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One did not do as well as a generation of consoles. They did not do as well as PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. And as you said, people are still wanting an Xbox 360. And I think that lends itself to the fact that graphics are only going to matter to the normal video game consumer. It's only going to matter to a certain point. And I think it stinks because, Nintendo tried to play that game where they said, look, we don't care about graphics, we care about fun gameplay. And it didn't work, but I just don't think that argument was relevant yet. But I think it is now. And I think there's proof in the pudding, because people still want a 360. People are still buying games for 360 and PS3. They're still releasing new games for 360 and PS3. That game, like you said, it's been 10 years. I mean, that system still has life. Now, let's step it up a notch. That Xbox One that you own looks phenomenal. There is absolutely no reason for that thing to only have maybe 2 years left in its life cycle.
Right.
And I just don't know. I think the nature of the industry is that eventually they're going to have to come out with something new and exciting to sell. But I think in the meantime, I think this is an opportune time for Nintendo to jump in with something that can honestly compete with the Xbox One and the PS4, and offer a feature that neither of those systems have. PlayStation tried it with the Vita, but the Vita just tanked. And again, it's because Nintendo has the corner on the market there. I mean, they produce a solid system that has really fun features with the 3DS and a gigantic library. I mean, there are still tons of games scheduled for release this year for the 3DS.
Yeah. Yep.
Even if Nintendo claiming that they're not going to take any focus off of the 3DS, even if that's just them keeping the consumer happy, keeping all those parents and gamers who got a 3DS for Christmas or a 2DS, even if it's just to keep them content, because they know the NX is going to come out and cannibalize the market. It doesn't matter, because there is still a year's worth of gaming to be had. There's still a year's worth of titles going to be released. And for the 3DS, there is a ton of games coming out.
Yeah, and if you look at the 3DS is just a 3D version of the DS. Now, how long has the DS been out?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, as a
if you
line,
look at it that way.
Yeah, I think as a product line, the DS has done a really good job.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, look at for the now the Wii U lineup is admittingly a little sparse, but still not anything to sneeze at. We got Star Fox Zero, Zelda Twilight Princess HD, which I never beat Twilight Princess. I'm excited to play that game, especially on the Wii U.
Oh, definitely.
We've got Pokken Tournament coming out, which is like a Tekken fighter with Pokemon. I think that's going to be fun. It's an arcade-styled fighter, so, I mean, it's just going to be a good party game. And not to mention the Zelda Wii U title.
So there's still original Zelda Wii U coming?
Yeah, and it's been delayed. Okay. Some people are thinking that it's going to be pushed back to be a co-release with the NX.
Kind of like Twilight Princess for the GameCube and Wii.
Exactly, and Twilight Princess being pushed to March makes me think that, well, if they give us Twilight Princess HD in March, they could reasonably announce Twilight Princess Wii U at E3, a full unveiling of the game, and then also announce that it's also for NX, and then release it for the NX alongside or a month after it's released for the Wii U.
Yeah.
But that would make sense, but I don't know. I mean, we just gotta wait for E3, and I've never been more excited for an E3, I gotta tell you.
Is it going to be televised? It's usually been televised on G4, but that's non-existent anymore. So.
Right. I can assume.
Think that was on anything last year.
Yeah, we're just gonna have to keep an eye out on the headlines, and hopefully Nintendo streams what they do on their channel on YouTube and keeps it transparent. But I don't know. We got a lot to look forward to, and
we do.
And here's something to think about, Sean. They have not. It's been 6 years, hasn't it, since Super Mario Galaxy 2?
That might be so. Super Mario Galaxy came out in 2007.
So
I think
there's some rumor mongering or some speculation that we might just be waiting to get that Super Mario Galaxy successor for the NX launch. Now, picture this. We're getting these heavy delays on the Zelda Wii U title. We haven't seen a true successor to Super Mario Galaxy in years, or there hasn't even been one announced. But we haven't seen anything about Super Mario Galaxy in years, and there has not been a drop of anything out of Retro Studios. So we're talking a Zelda, a Metroid, and a Mario for a potential launch, as potential launch titles for the NX.
Yeah, because I will say this. When I think of Mario Galaxy, I think of that as a successor to actually Mario 64. The good old 120 stars sort of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know where 120 came from, but that's what it is. Mario 64, 120. Super Mario Galaxy, 120. Mario Galaxy 2, 120. Now, with their bonus content where you can get more, yeah, and 100%, yeah, nonetheless. But, there's just something where it's like, yeah, the Wii U has had New Super Mario Brothers Wii U. They've had New Super Mario World, or Super Mario 3D World. And, but yeah, nothing really Mario like the Super Mario 64 Mario.
Right. And, oh shoot, we're running out of time, but I think we've seen some really awesome divergence with the Mario titles. We've got, on the consoles, we've got, of course, the Mario Galaxy titles. We have the new Super Mario Brothers titles. We have Super Mario 3D World. There is definitely a nice, well-rounded Mario universe that's been developed for consoles, for home consoles, and I'm excited to see what they're going to do next.
I am too, Markball.
Well, real quick here, tell us what you think. How do you feel about the NX? What are you looking forward to? Are you nervous?
I don't think I'm nervous, Mark, but I may be excited.
Yeah.
As much as I have an Xbox One. Like I said, that was always more for the idea of, I have a nice new TV and having a Wii with a plethora of games. The Wii U just seemed like I was playing some of the more sequels, not direct, but to an extent. And so that's why I went with the Xbox One. That the NX could be a crossover, as much as I love the Wii U, even though I don't have one, I love the concept. It does get me excited thinking, well, you know what? Maybe I will get one of these Nintendo NX when they come out.
Excellent. Well, I'm right there with you. I'm excited about it.
That wraps up this week's episode.
More.
Tune in every Saturday morning for Nintendo News Week, where we discuss the week's biggest Nintendo
All right, well,
headlines.
thank you
also,
for joining
please
us
tune
today,
in
Sean
next
Kill,
week for our next
Thanks for
episode
having me, Mark.
of We Chat About. If you liked what you heard, please subscribe right here on YouTube for all of our Nintendo Love Affair content. You can get updates from us daily on Twitter at NinLoveAffair. That's NIN Love Affair. Or on Facebook at facebook.com/Nintendo Love Affair. Have something you want discussed? Questions or concerns? Email us at nintendoloveaffair@gmail.com. Remember, Nintendo Love Affair is your #1 source for all things Nintendo, and we thank you for being a part of it. Take care.